Hello, hello. Good morning, people. Rise and shine. Feedback session is upon us. Hey guys. I'll be a little bit sleepy today, but today is our final feedback session. We're doing it the second time because last time internet sucked. Hopefully today we're not gonna have this kind of problem. Let me inform you all you Vikings that we're starting the run. Let's go. Nice. Okay, cool. A rope. First. Nice. I'll be a little bit sleepy today. Hey, by the way, guys, look, we have fancy lights now. We have a little. It can be blue. It can be orange. I can have a disco. I kind of like being blue. I'm blue, waboo-dee, waboo-die, waboo-dee, waboo-die, waboo-dee, waboo-die, to-do. Or should I just be? No, I like the orange one. Just needs to. I can control the temperature even of this thing. It's like a little. It's kind of like a whatchamacallit. It's kind of cool because it can be scary. Hey. Ooh. It's one of those whatchamacallit, Men in Black, you know, the forget stick. Hey Antonina, hey Sveta, hey Marco, hey Stefano, hey Sveta, hey Katja, hey Palina, Elena. Also, I got a little bit burned. You can't see it, but ow! I went to the mountains yesterday. Yesterday was my wife's birthday. We cooked food on a fire. We went to the lake and we had breakfast at a place, and then we went to the top of the mountain. Shot a little bit of footage here and there, and went back. Very nice. Also organized my drawing space. Now I have colored pencils next to me, a sketchbook, and lights. I don't know, trying to be professional. Actually, I have two lights, but this one is discharged. Can do this. I bought those things so I can do like cool videos with cool lighting effects, so I can explain light better to my students. Yeah. Lucia, everyone says happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to Chief's wife.
Aww. Thank you.
I'm sure you can hear her probably. She says, thank you. Alrighty. Shall we? Alright. Let's see what you got. I know some of you reposted your old stuff. That's okay. Why am I humming the wedding song? Alright. So this can't be right that this is the only thing that's been posted, right? So I gotta be honest, and I gotta start from the start. And the start was somewhere over there. I'm just gonna probably skip. Okay, let's see who reposted again. So I'll skip those people. So Matthias, Puto, okay, Leona reposted, Tim reposted, Tatiana reposted, Sveta reposted. Then Kalina, I think she deleted the previous one. Esther, Brian, Drakina, Nia. Okay. Okay, cool. And then Faisal. Cool. All right. get some relaxing music going. Also, yesterday I cut my finger with a drone. Can you see this? It was spinning really fast and I caught it mid-air and then good thing didn't cut my finger off. I don't think it's possible, but it was a big ouch. I was screaming on top of the mountain. No! My finger! Alright. Alright, cool. Where's that stop sign last time? Okay, I think I went past it. Sorry guys. Trying to find the correct. I think it starts here. Yeah, I think it starts here. Yeah. I think so. No, I already feedback that. Yeah, because I have all the likes. Okay, it has to be somewhere at the bottom. Somewhere here. Hey, cool. Alright, so I think with Heiko, already told you, drop the contrast back, either darken it or lighten it. So this is the main focal point. I like that this guy's more readable. You graduated, already did this thing. Kalina, I'm ignoring her for now because she updated her things. With Kirk's, I think she updated a little something at the bottom, so I'm gonna skip that for now. Hurt Mania, everything's great. The only thing said is like maybe more bounce light here, but for the most part it's finished. And then the gradient here, gradients with just pure color are boring. Just a little bit of fill light in the shadows here and a little bit of a gradient here because just pure color looks boring. But Sveta said that you basically are done, but please do post it before the diploma because it's pretty freaking awesome. So you're great. Please restore your hand. With Shamanek, I said the only thing that I need is to make the cow a little bit more constructed. Yeah. By the way, Lou, everyone is dropping happy birthday to you in the chat, so. Yeah, it has to be like made of straw or have like a little bit of like, you know, like a writing on it or something, because it's the same model that you use for the other cow. So make sure that you have the wire clear, because right now it looks like he just has this. So if it's not going to be the wire, maybe just make an antenna out there with a detonator and a few maybe dynamites falling out just to connect the thing more. And you know what? Maybe, you know, I don't know. No, I think it's fine. Yeah, cool. Very nice. Same thing with Yelena. I think you did just fine. This is great. This is finished. I think you just need to get into your new adventure, and this is pretty awesome. Especially thank you for fixing this. I think this is pretty cool. Yeah, Julie said I think only flip this so the hand is on the left, but other than that, it's pretty awesome. I think with Igor, I said that you're amazing. You improved a lot, especially on your gestures. That this bottom one that you have in here reads much better than used to, and then you improved a lot in terms of color composition and everything else, especially with gesture. This is much stronger than it was before, so I think you learned a lot on this one, so you just keep pushing. With this one, I fat shamed a little bit the tree here, not on purpose. I'm sorry, but the thing is, it is a little bit too thick of a tree. It needs to, like, I remember last time I did a paint over, like this area is not used at all and it has so much visual weight, so either make it thinner or just crop the entire thing just to look at those things. I already did that paint over, right? And this one, make less contrasty, like make this less contrasted because pure blacks are a little bit all over the place. Yeah, because I think you are shading with multiply, and then when you have pure blacks, it's bad. I think last time what I did is I just basically did this, right? And this already looks better. Of course you need to push back a little bit and add some contrast there, but pure blacks are not good. And then I did a little paint over here. Move this character over here. You know what, let's redo this one. Yeah, because the thing is, right now, from far away, this looks like nothing, and this is for everybody. I will repeat the feedback. You have so much VFX, it's like an elemental spit on the canvas. So much stuff, so many highlights and contrast things. And honestly, I don't know where to look here, right? So what you need to do is, you need to move this character over here. Move this character over here, make the background much simpler, right? Maybe just this, right? And then have a very strong silhouette of your creature, right? Make sure that the head looks good, and if you want to make it pure black, you can, but the silhouette needs to be readable. Then you need to have a face in there, right? And then maybe just, and then you see what kind of things you have left, and then you can smack them. So this way, what's happening is, if we're gonna simplify to the color scheme, we're gonna have just a blue, then we're gonna have the demon, we're gonna have a few accents here where the face is, and maybe his thing glowing, and then we're gonna have a nice silhouette over here. And now this reads much better because we know where to look, right here, versus this, because too many things coming out or going on. So other than that, just wrap up this and you're finished. Okay, with this one, with face cell, and repeat it again, so just in one place. I think this story is very nice. The only thing is like there's two frames over here with a pillow. They're kind of the same-ish. They have the same simple statement, which is monsters around. So maybe make here that the intensity of it is glowing, maybe, or growing. Like there's shadows upon it, and it's getting intensely more reddish or something. Because technically it's the same shot, and there's not much going on. So you know the main rule of any story is, if it's not adding anything to the story, you remove it, right? So if I was color scripting this, honestly, there's not much information different from here than in here, so I would either chose one or another, unless over here something very interesting would start happening in terms of story and color, right? So this needs to be adjusted. Other than that, everything is perfect. I like it. I like how you started cleaning them up. I like the design of this thing. The only thing I remember is make sure that none of your colors are muddy. So for example, this one, some local colors, so where everything is pinkish. I want some more neutral colors and more cold colors, because again, warm colors and saturated colors only pop up on a neutral base, and warm colors only pop up on a, you know, on a cool base. So make sure that you find a really good reference for that. Everything else is pretty fine. I think one last thing that I wanted to say is control your saturation, right? Because everything is very saturated. To control saturation, you know, for the highlights, you need to have a neutral base. If you don't have a neutral base, everything's saturated, and everything is saturated, nothing's saturated. If everyone is super, no one is super. But Daria, I said, good job. This looks much better. This one also looks much better, and this one is awesome. So I think technically you're done. I think you're done. There's nothing else to do here anymore. All right. Oh. By the way, guys, if possible, can you please change your nicknames to something more pronounceable? So I don't do stupid noises more than I have to, because I already do a lot of stupid noises when I do feedbacks. Okay, I think you added a little bit more. Okay, this looks awesome. Cool. Cool. All right, you changed some color schemes, and then kaboom. Cool. I think you learned a lot on this one. I'm not sure if there's any, you know, I think like right now what you need to focus on is just, you know, finish it to your best ability, because I think you did a pretty good job. And then just start a new project. But this time try maybe not so many frames, try to just finalize one frame. And one thing that I'm gonna tell you is, I think you're pretty good with silhouettes, and compositionally you're pretty good at putting things in different places, but your form it struggles a little bit, right? It's kind of like you're trying to make form, but at the same time you're trying to make it comic booky. You know, try to have one illustration and really focus on just, you know, defining the forms in terms of shapes. All right, borders, description. All right, gotcha. All right, so with this one, it's a little bit too dark, mate. Where is it? It's right here. Yeah, it's even dark on my second monitor. It's like very, 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 very dark. So like, you know, maybe do something like this. Like a lot of the times when I'm out of value range or it's too contrasty, just make the contrast less and then up the brightness, and then you can add in more stuff in there. So right now you like added. So what I liked here in previous version, that, you know, there was a lot of lost shapes last. So now you are technically changing it to something different, right? Yeah, just again, control, you know what, maybe just, let's just up the brightness just a little bit, and maybe we can bring the contrast back the way you had it, right? But it needs to be brighter, 100%. Dun, dun, dun. Honestly, because it's kind of like a little bit graphic, you know, maybe I'll just push those guys in the background, so now they're not as distracting, you know. And then there's some empty stuff behind. I'm not sure if it's a doorway or it was a mirror, you know. Maybe just add like a tapestry behind her, something like this. I don't know, with some kind of like symbols, because it's very illustration like, and there's something missing from behind. Yeah, another thing is, it's like, I'm not sure if she's like sleeping, because in the previous version it was like illustration wise, like almost like a book cover, right? Here now it's like a keyframe, so you need to keep it either book covery or illustration like, because let's say if it's book covery, right? You know, we can kind of show that, you know, the duality of this chick, right? Maybe we can have one part, you know, gonna be like this, and the other one is like, you know, on fire, for example, right? This one is gonna be like something like this, and now that's her dark side, and then she's like, you know, burn world, burn type of a deal, right? And then the other thing is something else. It just, you know, it looks like what's happening right now is, I like that you took my feedback literally and you tried to apply it, all right? But I think what I was doing, I was giving you suggestions what to do to understand what the simple statement is, right? So for example, if it's a book cover, you know, maybe add a title in or something like that, because, you know, something's missing. You did try to do the knights. I would probably remove them. I know you probably spent so much time on it, but because the thing is, you couldn't pull it off because it's they're becoming too interesting, right? And, you know, if it takes away from the focal point, you know, delete it. Yeah, and then I would just you know, work on emphasizing my focal point, you know, maybe making some kind of like, you know, ritualistic engravings on the wall or tapestry in the back, yeah, in the background, just to fill in the space, you know. Or, you know, if you don't want to fill in the top space, what you can do is you can move the entire thing, you know, something like this, and then extend it here, you know, and then this way you have a proper portrait that looks kind of cool, you know. You can extend the staff over here and just have a regular portrait of a cool, you know, woman king type of a deal. Yeah, so it's either this or the previous one, but I really like how this looks in terms of composition, so maybe just do that. It's gonna be nice and simple, right? It's all about the simple statement. So don't overcomplicate it if you don't need to. Right now is an keyframe. Well, the thing is, I'm gonna tell you this. If this was a keyframe, like, you know, people don't watch shows like this, right? This is not a keyframe, because usually keyframes, when it comes to visual development, are there to, you know, test out the story. This is not a keyframe. This is like a test illustration or something like that. Keyframes are only relatable to TV, animation, movies, or anything cinema related to test out a story, right? We don't have TVs that are, you know, positioned like this, right? We don't watch anything vertically like this. It's always horizontally or box-like, right? Unless, you know, society is gonna advance so much that we're gonna watch TV pretty soon in TikTok format, and our movies are gonna be like 5 minutes long. Have you seen that super long TikTok? Man, yeah, it's been 5 minutes. It took me like 2 evenings to watch. I'm pretty sure attention spans of human beings are gonna be at that point somewhere in that regard, but you know, till then, it has to be this. So if you wanna make it a keyframe, mate, you know, you need to, you know, do this. And then you have to fill in all those things, right? What's gonna be in there? Is it gonna be a bunch of warriors to her side with, like, you know, following her into battle? You know, I don't know. See, that's a whole other thing. You know, maybe there's gonna be torches, you know, and she's leading them somewhere. You know, then you can, you know, add black bars at the top, at the bottom, if you want to, you know, to show that this is cinematic. You know, it's all up to you, mate. But horizontal is not keyframes. Horizontal is illustrations. It could be, you know, sketches for a card, anything. Yeah. TikTok movie. Yeah, please no. All right, but overall, dude, I still really like it. Just, you know, figure out what you want to do with it. All right, next person. Okay, Sophia. Yeah, it's the story of King Saul, but I maybe need a more keyframes. Okay, cool. Let's see. Awesome. David comes in. You know, I need to introduce you to Joe. Your knowledge would be very useful there. Cool. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll introduce you to Joe. Joe needs a new illustrator. Okay, cool. The only thing that I don't understand, so I understand everything. So I know Saul comes in. He's being put on as a king by, I forget what the prophet's name is. Then he travels back. I'm not sure what this is. He's kind of like begging or something, or this guy says you're too prideful and he goes away probably. And now he's in depression because this guy has turned away from him. One thing I'm gonna say that, like, I like how orangish and this thing is, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. So for example, for this one, I like how dark you went here and there, but I think I did give you a little bit of feedback that behind him we need to have something, either guards or a wall, or maybe again a tapestry, so it's not so empty in this shot. And you can make nice tapestry behind him to frame him. You can go watch the Chosen series to get some inspiration for Jewish inspired things. For this one, you know, have a lot of saturation going on. Again, you know, you can, and over here you can really play with the silhouette of I don't remember where they were, but of the city, you know, city or mountains behind the palace, so it's not so empty over here, you know. But I like it, and this guy needs to be replaced with something more strong in terms of silhouette. This is quite nice, but the city over here is too dark, and because it's so dark, it looks like it's trying to pop into the foreground. But I don't think it's possible to have it this dark. I think you can, it's starting to become a little bit muddy. I like the greens that you have in the sky to complement those reds, and I like the fill light over here in the foreground. You know, but the city is too dark a little bit. I know it's burning and stuff, but you know, make sure that you make it less muddy. Yeah, and mud is usually created when you have wrong values and wrong saturations in the wrong context. There's no such thing as muddy colors in general, guys. What you have to understand. There's no such thing as ugly color. There's only a color that is not in the right context. That's it. There's no such thing as muddy colors. Because if you individually color pick them, every color is beautiful, right? But here, because you have it so far away, and then you have blacks and grays, even though the atmosphere is going to be affecting them, that's what creates mud. So push it down to out into the distance a little bit, and I think, yeah. Another thing, like this focal points, what you have to understand, guys, that when we're creating focal points in relationship to each other, we need to make sure that they're interesting, because the thing is, when we have focal points right next to each other like this, our eye just goes back and forth like this, boink, 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 like a, you know, like a ping pong machine. And it's a too short of a distance for a focal point. So our eye has to either go like this, you know, or something like this. It's very boring to do like this, because the thing is, there's no incentive to go here or here or here. So like the solution for this is, you know, either, you know, making this entire crowd, you know, bigger, maybe, you know, so they're kind of like, you know, traveling like over here. So this way our composition is going to be red, like, you know, this is our eye. Let's make it blue. It's going to be like something like this, you know, it's going to go through the entire crowd. And then this, always try to imagine yourself as the eye, and how interesting you make the adventure of the eye traveling through the illustration, right? Because we can agree that this then into this is much interesting than ping pong this, right? Hopefully I explained this understandable. What about piss yellow? Well, again, remember that that piss yellow color that I called piss yellow, it looks piss yellow in that context because there were so many saturated blues and it was kind of desaturated yellow, right? It looked like piss yellow in that context, but there's not such thing as ugly colors. There's some colors I don't like to use, but it's just because of my personal taste. Honestly, any color can be used pretty well in the right context. But it's really hard to, for me at least, balance very saturated color palette. I always need a neutral base usually. Right. Other than that, this is super cool. I should send this to Joe because I think he might have a job for you. All right, cool. All right, Irina, I haven't finished changing the illustration. The last one after feedback. Okay, you haven't changed it yet, or not final finished it. Okay, let's see. I had some problems with this one. I don't know why. I think it's because there's just so many things going on in terms of accents and this kind of like yellow color that we just mentioned before. Maybe it's fine. Maybe because there's so much saturation. You know what? Don't touch it. Just refine a little bit of their bums so it's not so I understand, because this thing is like in the foreground of us. You know, make sure you define it more. The other ones I don't care about that much, but you know, the main reason why we need to define at least one object in a crowd of objects is because this thing, you know, this is our point of reference that we're gonna in our mind replace the crowd or the repetitive object with. So it needs to be defined as much as possible. The second one needs to be defined a little bit less and less and less and less. Yeah, I think other than that, it's fine. But this one, I don't really know what's going on with this one. It's like, I don't know, it's like Welcome to Jurassic Park type of scene, maybe. right? But there's like a gate looking thing, and there's also a gate, so it's kind of like a double statement, double framing, right? Maybe you put it in there because the eye didn't look at the character, but I think this is, out of all of those, this is one of the weakest things, I think, in keyframe wise, because I'm not sure what's really going on in here. So there's two things that are possible, right? Maybe make the character a little bit, you know, taller, or another thing is like this is more interesting than the character, so maybe you need to move this a little bit to the left, because the thing is, our eyes are attracted to contrasts, right? So you have a very contrasty thing over here, so we have two possible things that we can do, right? You can take this character and, you know, make it bigger, and then do the same relationship as this. So kind of standing next to it, and it's as contrasty as interesting, right? Because from far away, it looks like a very interesting, you know, statement. You know, maybe make, you know, some kind of shapes. Maybe make that butterfly a little bit smaller. Like I would probably make it like almost twice as small, something like this. You know, so it's not distracting. You know, and make sure that, you know, you have the designs of those kind of things. If I understand, those are kind of like statue-like things, you know, and then, you know, just populate the scene a little bit, because I have no idea what, you know, I know that you're a fan of Zach Retz. I think you took his course. My problem with Zach Retz's work is that some things are undefined in it, but he does it on purpose. You know, things that needs to be defined, he defines it in a few simple strokes. Maybe your idea was that it's like so ambiguous, we have no idea where we're going, but I think it's too ambiguous. It's like, yeah, it looks like there's kind of like some heads here and there, but for the most part, you know, I'm not sure what I'm looking at, right? Are those dinosaurs? Are those statues? Are the gates? It needs to be a little bit more defined, right? Zach Retz's style is very interesting. His painting approach is very interesting, right? But even though when he paints, he leaves some things free for interpretation, because his approach is very, I would say, you know, kind of impressionistic to some things. But then when he needs to define like a car or a vehicle, he does define it for the audience. So I think everything else is fine besides your focal points, right? This and that. Define it a little bit more. And another thing, like this thing is like a little bit too, you know, monochromatic. Like, you know, maybe add some, you know, kind of cool little green highlights somewhere to show that there's more happening to it. So it's not so boring, because again, with monochromatic, there's nothing bad with monochromatic. And I know I'm being a little bit harsh, but the thing is, I have a high standard for people who know a little bit more, so I need to push them to another level. This is not a bad painting, but you can do better, and that's what we're trying to do now, right? Yeah, and it's like maybe those are kind of like gargoyle statues that are standing on something. There's like a little platform, right? Maybe there's kind of like some engravings on it. Maybe not. Maybe it has an eye. Maybe not. Right? It needs a little bit more definition. Like what does the form look like? Is this the bottom of the mouth? You know, and then we can see the under it, right? Is there going to be some kind of like a tail, you know, like, is it a statue? Is it being overgrown by some kind of like, you know, grass? And then you can also add maybe a little bit of kind of lines around to show that it is the jungle. She discovered it for depth, you know. Yeah, like just check like this and this. There's like when the character is standing in the foreground, looks like an actual frame, you know, and then yeah, something like that. Okay, cool. Next one. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Right, with this one, I really like it. I think it's a nice middle ground painting right now, and just needs a final retouch. And the final retouch is this: you need to start adding accents. accents where we need to look at, right? So like right now I'm doing it with an overlay. You need to show where to look because you have a very nice neutral base right now. I really like this thing, right? But now you need to show where we need to look at through accents, right? Like something like this. Like, see, this is an accent. Now the painting sings a little bit more, right? And make sure that you add accents in the right place in the right time. I really like the cold things here and there. Like overall, I think you have a great approach to painting. Like I can see that it's very Zaccaret's influenced. I really like your temperature, especially here, that it's becoming more cool, right? But for the most part, don't forget about like where we need to look at and then pop it up a little bit. Other than that, it's pretty good. Yeah, and as I believe you're still working on this one. Cool, awesome. Yeah, just jump back to whatever paint over I did for you. Yeah, it should be fine. I love it. Very nice, very strong work. I think it's gonna be awesome, especially if you include all your, you know, designs and your concept art into it. It's gonna be a very strong piece of work on ArtStation. All right, Reservate. I'm done here. Realize it had to laconic, literally one word descriptions, added a little bit. Okay, let's see. Dormant, echo, slowly decaying, lost, meaningless. Ah, okay. Red approaching, prey doesn't care, it can't. Okay, demon out of the machine, reaching them. With one simple touch, corruption begins. Okay, cool, red pool and twisting, reshaping them in its own image. 3 + 1 = 4. Right, newly created pack is charging forward. It's a showdown. Did he create his own enemy to fight? Or this guy just Deus Ex Machina appears out of nowhere and saves the day? I'm just curious. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the only thing that I have in terms of this story, it's awesome. It's really good in terms of like rendering style, but you know, maybe we don't need, maybe it's just a prequel, you know, this thing just arrives. I think that's fine. It's just, you know, it's my storytelling brain. I'm like, where does the guy appear from? All that stuff. But you know, sometimes it's okay to leave things to interpretation. Cool. This is finished. Good job. Very nice. I think when you combine it all into one nice post, it's gonna look awesome. Woo! Happy graduation. Very nice. All right, Marco, Keyframe Wine. Revisit after feedback session 7. A group of adventurers run away from a dark and powerful being after stealing a magic crystal. Right. Right. Okay, cool. All right, let's see this one a little bit closer. All right, I think, remember last time, maybe pop out her eye a little bit, because right now there's, we cannot see her impression of her eye anymore at all. I like how you simplified the hand. It's much better, I think. I'm not sure what those things in the crystal is right now, those kind of parallel lines. Maybe you included them because it's kind of like a nice, you know, kind of makes some line towards her, but I would drop them. I don't know, maybe add cracks or anything else, but it kind of looks like a zebra crystal now. Yeah, I would bring back the eye of hers, you know, just to show her terrified face. Yeah, I think that's what I would have done. Other than that, just bring her eye, so you know her facial expression, like yeah. Because when you have too much shadows, like you can even lie a little bit about it. No, let me. Again, remember, guys, lying in real life not cool. Lying in art necessary. Let me see. Screenshot. Dunk. Yeah. And just, you know, Yeah, you darken it a little bit. There's nothing I can do with contrast in there. Just look back into my previous paint or whatever I did. Yeah, because right now it's like she's too dark. She's completely dark, and we don't really understand what's going on with her. I don't. Other than that, everything's pretty good. I like that. I like that. Yeah, just work on the face a little bit. That's the only thing we need to see. We need to sell her terrified face that her life depends on that crystal. And then we do it through the eyes. And now the dark dude comes in here. Right, the hat is dropped. I really like this composition. Everything's pretty good. Yeah, I think this is done. Let's see if we maybe need to add maybe a little bit more glow from the crystal, so it's like but it's gonna be a little bit too distracting, right? Because it's right next to her, so you kind of did that not to have that in there. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I think there's nothing to do anymore. I think you learned a lot on this one. Just wrap up the face and you're done. Good job, Marco. Yeah, maybe add like where the crystal was like sliding on the snow. So it did slid, because right now it looks like, oh, maybe it just flew off and just boink, got in. Yeah, but it's all good. Cool. All right. I didn't finish that one in time. Changed light on the wings a little bit, made it somewhat more visible, so this version of Dragon is slightly outdated. Boris, I made you a paint over, remember? All you have to do, look at the paint over, look at your own thing, see what the difference is, learn, and just copy it, okay? I see same, a little bit of a weird of square. Stop reinventing the wheel, guys. When I give you a feedback or a paint over, it's for a reason. It's for you to follow, not for you to go like this. Oh, interesting. Then boop, throw away. It's to study and then implement your workflow. Okay? Yeah, and I'm gonna feedback this, Boris, because I already feedback the exact same thing, and I'm gonna be repeating the exact same motions. And yeah, I don't like repeating myself. Yeah, with this one, same feedback as I did before. Do all of that, and then yeah, you'll be good. Right, Brian S. Supposed to be epic, depict a dying swan swimming up to the main character. Everyone has such nice projects. Okay, let's see. It doesn't really look like a dying swan, honestly. To me, it looks like a regular swan. Getting into the the guy, because first of all, I'm gonna tell you I like how you balanced out the composition with the left side, but I think we don't really need the left side much more. Because the thing is, we read our compositions usually left to right, or something like this. I would probably, because what you have to understand is there's a reason why I do it. We read the composition left to right, and then what we did is like, oh, okay, there's a thing in a swan, and then we're not really paying attention to what is here, right? So that's why I kind of wanna crop everything, because anything after them interacting with the swan is uninteresting, right? So if we want to lead up to it from left to right, we need to add the same thing. Like if I just do this, right, it's gonna be much better, right? Because it still has depth, still has everything else. Or you know what? Like, I'm not lazy enough, so I'm just gonna do it. It still has depth, all of that, and then yada yada yada. But one thing is, like, this thing is not really, I don't think it's really dying. So if it was dying, like the wings maybe would be something like that. It would have been something like, oh, and then I think that you need a better reference for the sunsetish thing looking thing. Let me double check into my little duck and gnome type of a thing for sunsets. Well, I think this is pretty close in terms of, right, maybe it's not as close to what you have there. Maybe, you know, you wanted yours to be a little bit something like this, maybe, right? But like the thing is with the sunsets, and then the time of day that you have right now, it's very dim type of day because the sun is very, very low. And usually when the sun is very, very low, whereas in front of it, technically just, you know, I kind of want to just do like a kind of overlay like this, you know, and then on top of that, because everything is going to be a silhouette, right? And let's just merge everything. Make it a little bit more contrasty. Maybe with an overlay, let's see if that works. You know, if you want to have the sun over here, you know, we're gonna have this incredibly, you know, sweet moment of them talking to each other. And the sun is way over there now. I think I would even hide it. You know, maybe, you know, if you wanted, you can have a little bit of it, you know, kind of showing over there somewhere. But I'm not sure if you need to do it right where the swan is, because it just will look weird. So I would just maybe just indicate it just a little bit. You can have a little bit of, if you want to have a little bit of that in there. I know it's not perfect, but you get my you get my drift, right? Because I think yeah, this doesn't feel sunsetty. This feels a little bit more sunsetty. You can do something in between, but the bottom line is, first of all, you know how the thing is read, and it's read left to right. And then the main reason why I did this is because, you know, we're reading a book, and the book says here, and there's grass, and there's everything, and there's a dying swan and everything else, right? When you were doing your thing, before that, it kind of read like, you know, and there's a dying swan and thing, and then there's grass. And we don't really care about the grass, right? And then and there's a boy in the sunset talking to a dying duck, and there's grass, and then and other stuff. But here we're setting up the context, you know, in a windblown, grass blades. Through them we see a dying goose. You know, it's kind of like we show the boring information first, and then we show the interest. And this thing is kind of leading us to the interest. But then when you're showing the interest right away, which is the dying goose, right? What's the point of looking at everything else, right? So that's the thing. All right. Or, guys, you have to understand. Goose has feathers. You know, swan has feathers. So if it's a goose, cool. You know, I remember when I was recording color and light course in Russian, I called cubes spheres, spheres cubes. Why? Because those are, you know, they are geometric figures. And my brain, you know, it's a very lazy brain, so it just merges everything into one. All right, so, you know, just fix that and you'll be fine. Appearance of a second main character, fair, she's in her human form. Okay, cool. Those guys are like, this is mine, no, this is mine. Super cool, very nice. You know, I think I would just do the same thing as I said to Heiko, because this is very like comic book like. If you're fine with this, honestly, you can leave it as it is. I wouldn't mind that much, right? But I would just, you know, I'll just play up a bit, you know, the cool spotlight effect, you know, that they're, you know, they're really lit, you know, by something, and then everything else I would just, you know, push into the distance a little bit, you know, because just look at this, where we look contrast wise, right? Those are like, here we kind of look where we need to, but here we really look where we need to, because we have so much saturation, so much brightness in there. That's why we need, of course, we can saturate just a little bit, you know, to bring to your first layer, but I think you can see where we'll look here and we'll look here. Maybe even, you know, maybe those guys in the background, you kind of had them a little bit more pushed into the background, so I lost a little bit of that. So if they are bright against dark, so like I would make them brighter, something like this. And then with this guy, I probably would just do this, because he's not important. Those guys are the most important things. But yeah, that's the only thing. Just control your saturation and brightness in areas of interest. Yeah, very strong work. Just a little tweak. All right, Paulina. Fixated my frames based on the previous feedback. At least I tried my best. I was hard stuck with fourth running girl, trying the best version of the concept for the picture, but I still can't finish proper. So here they are. Okay, cool. I think all of this is pretty cool. I like it. You made it a little bit more interesting. I like how you work with this guy. Super nice. Cool. I think this is fine. I think you should wrap up the story. I think you learned whatever you could out of it. You know, don't beat a dead corpse anymore. It's not that it's dead and bad. I mean that, you know, at some point with our work, there's no point of polishing it. We've learned everything that we knew. You know, the only how we're gonna make it is like if we like rework or start over. But this is pretty fine. I think just leave it alone. Just like in a paint over, maybe add a little bit more saturation, contrast here, so his face is a little bit more readable, you know, from afar. But other than that, it's pretty nice. I like it. Very nice. Graduated. Woo! All right, Graham. So sorry as for now. I'm afraid I may have to hit the pause button. A lot of changes, not all bad, happened in my life last months, and I will need to rethink my priorities. All that to say, I've done some, not all of the changes for the first two drawings. The third one is incomplete. The fourth is a thumbnail from before to show continually. Okay. Cool, this looks awesome. Okay. Load. I like that, very nice, super cool. This is good, I really like the bounce light. And I like that, yeah. And when you clean it up, it will be awesome. Yeah, super cool, Graham. I'm glad you have more exciting things on your horizon. Stay strong, my brother. You got this. Very strong work. All right, Nico. All right, I've seen this. All right, spooters. Cool. I'm just gonna do one little thing for this one, and it's gonna be, you know, in terms of shape relationship. So for example, you have this spooter and it's smaller and it's smaller than this spooter, right? So usually when we have same kind of objects in our, you know, in our frame, you know, we usually determine their importance by the size. So for example, this spooter is much bigger than this spooter, right? So we kind of pay attention here, even though we need to pay attention not here. Why is my pen is not, what the hell? Here you go. So for example, this spooter is much bigger than this one. So if, but we need to see in this general area. So the only thing that I need to do is, like, you know, make this guy bigger. So now, you know, we instantly look a little bit more towards this area. But what I know that you don't really need to look at spiders at all. What you need to look at this spider. So what I would have done, like I would probably did make it more contrasty, you know, and I would probably would have done something like this, you know, so it's where we need to look at is a little bit more interesting, right? And you know what, it'll be kind of cool to show, you know, some, you know, maybe sunset colors in the environment itself, you know, going towards reds or something, to show that, you know, something is about to happen in there, you know, and then it's kind of like hitting this kind of like evening type of an hour. Yeah, and another thing is that you had in your previous frame is, well, you had those interesting kind of looking, you know, growths that looked weird. So why not introduce it and connected that, you know, all those things. I think you had them, maybe you cleaned them up a little bit, but you know what, maybe they are, you know, growing something like this. They're all going from this silhouette kind of like this. So we kind of connect everything with those things, that all of that is coming from there. Of course, maybe not so contrasty, but you know what I'm saying, right? Connected to previous frames. Other than that, it's great. Whoops, no, it was all the way back. Okay, this is cool. I like it. I like it. Very nice. He's kind of like, yeah, you know, just to, you know, people do it all the time just to sell the, you know, the drama of this thing. I would just, you know, I'll introduce reds as much as possible, and we don't really have to make everything red, but you know, we can change the, you know, maybe the color of the torch towards red or something, just so it's a little bit more intense, right? So it's not bad to do that. You can lie about different things. You can do something like this, right? Because this way it's more interesting and more awesome. And then, you know, like, don't be shy from drawing the fire itself. You know, it's gonna be pretty cool. And then when it comes to this guy, I forgot what his local colors are. I think his, yeah, he has like a yellow looking thing. I think this thing is gonna be, you know, it's gonna be, I don't know if she's gonna be reflecting the light at all, but then he gonna just get lost. You know, I would just lie about it and just pretend that this thing in the shadow. I know it's not gonna be the case, but so it just pops on top of everything because it just gets lost a little bit. Maybe you can add a little bit of kind of those saturated reds here. Another thing that you can do is you can totally brush this in and then make him read as, you know, light against dark. So if I would do it, let's just do this. I miss painting so much. You guys are so lucky that you get to paint. Enjoy it while you can. What the hell? Why? Oh, I have it on a low opacity, yeah. So we'll either do this, if he's a darker shape, you know, then what we can do is, well, I'm just gonna cheat, so I'm just gonna do this. You know, I'm just gonna elongate him and do this type of a thing. You know, and I think I did that paint over already, but it's okay. And I'm just gonna blur it out, you know, to show his shadow. You know, and it's either this, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna have, like, you know, a very powerful rim light on him. Maybe I'll just make him a little bit brighter, like this, maybe something like that. All right, so if we look at the difference, yeah, there's just a little bit more drama. in terms of the colors. But right now everything is monochrome, so you know what, maybe we have a desaturated version of this, go into a little of like kind of like purples or something, and then we're gonna have most saturation here, and maybe we do bring back a little bit of those blues, where so it's kind of complementary to the thing. And I would probably just add a little bit of that red bounce onto the spooder, so he's kind of like, hello, hello, gonna eat you, type of a deal. Yeah, and I think I told you before that, you know, you have a little bit, this thing needs to be balanced out a little bit, because yeah, and then just have a little bit things on the right, something like these. Yeah, because I kind of need, yeah, I need more fun places for the eye to go at. And maybe a little bit of, you know, some of those things reflect some of the light on top of it. Yeah, I don't know, something like this. Because first of all, we need to sell the, you know, the dread a little bit more. Maybe we'll do this, I don't know. You know, something like this. It's very spooky this time, you know. Because again, information that we don't show is as important as information that we do show. You know, and another thing is like maybe I don't know, maybe we can have, I don't know, other than that I think you're fine. I don't want to make it into my painting, I want it to be your painting. Yeah, and like maybe the cool thing, because maybe there's gonna be still some kind of like water or something in there, what you can do is like, if it's like he's following, you know, the river type of a deal, like if he's still following the river, we can have a green river underneath. And what we can do is we can technically what we can do is to have more of a, you know, story. It will be kind of cool, because the thing is, the story, like he sees something in the thing, and then what we can do is we can have like a little bit of like, you know, kind of like trembles, like this thing just went in here, you know, and had a little bit of a, you know, now there's a little bit of interaction, so he's kind of going, you know, little by little, and then he looks into the reflection. Right, so this way, when the viewer is going to be looking at it, the viewer is going to experience more of a story and more of an interaction, more of a moment, versus of just, you know, is much boring than right. So this is like an animation, right? Yeah, I like the shapes of the character and everything. Another thing that is a little bit bothering me is it's kind of cool that you have those, you know, very strong leads that lead to the spooder, you know, but they're kind of leaving the character alone. So for example, if we're gonna remove them completely, right, right now we're focusing on the character, right? And then if we're just gonna have, let's say, the saliva going, we're connecting the character and then the saliva right next to the spider, right? But then when we have just those things that you have, the shapes of the lead-ins, those things really strongly lead towards the spider's face. So we need to figure out, what do you want to do? Do you want to show that the spider is a reveal that he just sees later on? Then we need to remove those things. Maybe make them smaller or not so leading, and then just focus on the saliva drooling over here, right? Because this way we're just gonna focus on the character and the spider's face, right? It's up to you, but those are my 5 cents. You know, you can do a screenshot if you want to. If you don't want to, you don't need to. But yeah, those are my 5 cents. Do whatever you want with it. If you know, I don't want to mess with your perception of your story, so it is whatever you make of it. Yeah. Those are my 5 cents, but it's really good. It's already very, very good. Just needs to find out something. Right, Dormato. In the end, I fixed this art. Okay, cool. The only thing is, man, this face is still a little bit too flat. It's a cookie monster, but that's fine. I think you learned a lot on this one. I think you did good. Time to jump on to the next one. Very nice. Alright, I managed to draw only black and white sketches given this week, but I plan to finish them even if I don't meet the deadline for the camp. Drawing keyframe is for fun. Okay, cool. So the guys are like, cool. Map, let's go. They get out. Village is pillaged. They get in. They leave some people behind on the boat, and there's Fenrir. Then he looks like, Dad, there's like a giant dude there. And the dad is like, oh, there's a bunch of werewolves. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Don't kill my son. And then the dad dies, or his daughter. And the daughter is like, I'm gonna avenge you, father. Here's your sword. Nice, straightforward, awesome framing, awesome shots. Just freaking do it, Max. Once, you know, just do it. It's a super good story. You know, you should do it. It's very good. Yeah. All right, Gustuns. Here we go again. So happy with all our progress in the short time, seeing all your works, huge motivation. Still need to add details on the board, but I think the rest is looking pretty finished now. Let's go, Vikings. Okay, cool. Yeah, this looks better. I really like it. I really like your new way of doing water and stuff. One thing, you know, pop them up a little bit, because this lantern is not shining anymore. Okay, that's the only thing. Again, go back to my own old feedback and just try to figure out what I did there. Because right now, you know, the face is not very readable. She's very readable, but I think you kind of overdone it a little bit with the glow, right? So you need to balance out, because she needs to be red and he needs to be red too as a focal point. Right now, from afar, it just looks like boom, mermaid, and not him. Man, I'm slowly turning into Rick from Rick and Morty. That's Coke. And so it does too. Okay, this is pretty cool. I like it. Very nice. Yeah, like it. Just make sure that, you know, well, I think it's okay. Just make sure that maybe add a little bit of a gradient behind this guy, so his silhouette also reads, you know, or just make everything super dark and there's gonna be just, you know, there's just gonna be a bubble of them, you know, just, you can just make everything kind of, you know, kind of like this, and then have the character and her glowing in front with a little bit of things behind. Yeah, just again, make sure when you turn everything to black and white, there's still clear visible shapes, because this is pretty cool, but you have a lot of other things, and then she's the only super bright thing glowing. So, you know, when things are too interesting And that's what's happening right now. She's like too interesting of a contrast. You need to balance it out with other things to be as contrasty. So that thing is not the only super contrasty thing, right? So now, see, like I add a little bit more of a contrast, like here and here, and the composition is a little bit more balanced. There's now 2 focal points versus 1 focal point. She's still pretty freaking bright. So if I were you, maybe I would just, you know, I will lie about her brightness a little bit, right? Tone it down just a little bit. So now see what we're doing is we kind of have 2 focal points at the same time. Am I being attacked by a fly? There's so many moths around that they keep attacking me, especially throughout the night. But other than that, I think you learned a lot. You just need to, you know, jump on the next project. This is cool. I like it. You know, just, you know, again, when you are doing your paintings, think about, you know, the read. I think I really like the dog that's like looking at them kind of like with a poker face, like on the chair. I think it's pretty nice. But then you have a lot of things going on the left, so you need to either balance it out. Another thing is like readability. Let's turn into black and white. Everything goes into mush, right? And for you not to, things need to be read very, very well, right? So for the dog to pop out, right, what do we need? We need to have a little bit more contrast. Maybe you have like a very bright monitor. Maybe you just, you know, maybe you work in pure darkness and that's why things are maybe popping up for you. But again, when you have a silhouette and then you have like a light, right? Like for things to pop out, you know, this is much more readable, right? But it's about the dog now, and the dog is a little bit too contrasty. So what we need to do is like we need to balance it out with other things on the right that is going to be as contrasty, right? And then with the girl, right? And like if she's glowing, like it's really hard to do spirits and everything else because, you know, like if they're all glowing, it's really hard to do. So you need to like have some portions glow, some portions don't. Like, you know, maybe do something like this. You know, have some parts glowing more. Maybe there's gonna be like, you know, folds in her thing here, and then with the dude here, you know, it's a very hard painting. There's no way I can do it very, very fast. You know, I just, you know, draw some inspiration maybe from, let me go to my ArtStation. From this, you know, it's the same color palette. I think I already told you that. It's the same color palette and same simple statement. You know, you have a boy and you have his ghost father, and it's technically the same stuff. And honestly, it's the same composition too. We just overlay it. Like we have dark objects in the foreground, as you can see. You know, and then we have, you know, we have the simple statement glowing in the middle, right? So one thing I'm gonna tell you for sure that, you know, when things are glowing, you know, one thing is hit by the light, one is not hit by the light, so it becomes a little bit darker, right? Same thing here. This is gonna be a little bit darker. This is gonna be a little bit darker, right? But it's really hard because you have so many. You know, I would maybe even, you know, doing this, maybe, you know, so let's go to the top. There's not as much stuff, so he pops a little bit more. And then again, like when you have to understand that, like if there's genes here, there's gonna be certain portions of those genes that are hit more by the light, some portions that are gonna be hit less. So to describe form, some of them need to be lit, some not. It's a hard painting, you know. What I would recommend doing, maybe it's a little bit too much. Let's bring it all back. Here you are. Do this. Do this. I'll probably just cut this out a little bit like this, extend this a little bit. I would also, because the thing is, when you have things like looking like this, it looks like the dog is judging them to a degree. Like I would move the entire dog like this. So he's kind of like, you know, I'm not sure if the dog is like very skeptical, like, oh, this is a bad idea, mate. And he just observing them, you know, because it looks like the dog is the main protagonist. He just looks what his owner is doing, right? Maybe have some spider webs over here to balance the composition out a little bit, so we have something interesting in this corner, you know. Going towards here. Oh, it's a cursed pearl and he's not buying it. Yeah, like this face is probably just gonna be, yeah, that's, you know, that's the problem with flat lighting. I think he'll be even, there's gonna be a very limited value range. I think his short shirt is gonna be reflecting, well, yeah, half of it's gonna be reflecting more and then the other half's gonna be going into darkness. So here's how I would do it. So you have a simple statement, which is darkness. And then on top of the darkness, you have two characters, you know, doing this. That's your simple statement. And everything else is lit by them. So what I would do is I would, you know, fill in the entire space with black around them to show that they're the simple statement first, and then I would work on the lighting around them. So I would do a very graphic approach because everything else is very too distracting right now. So I would do this, then worry about the dog, like, because this is your simple statement of your painting, right? Them dancing. That's the simple statement. That's where you need to dance from. Right? So then you can either lower the opacity just a little bit, like this, right? And then what you can do is you can slowly start erasing towards the part where the light actually hits stuff, you know, to control the fall off. Control the fall off. Yeah. But then the painting is a little bit too dark. Something like this, maybe. Now and then we'll need to have, you know, some foreground elements. So you know what? Why not add like a picture over here of his dead wife or something? You can add a harpoon here too, maybe, for the foreground. Right, and then maybe we can even do a little bit more of a thing here, maybe, because it needs depth. Let's see if we ruined it. Do we ruin it? No, not necessary. So again, can do it for you. You'll have to do a lot of figuring things out, but first of all, the composition is a little bit screwed. It's not very balanced. So by framing them in the middle, I balanced it out. To the right, I had a little bit of foreground elements that balanced out the dog, because the dog wasn't the only thing in the foreground. I know it's not buying it. And another thing is, like, I would add a little bit more of like a bounce light on the dog, like kind of like this, you know, to show that it's like shining from the bottom, almost kind of like, I know it looks a little bit creepy. Maybe something like this. Maybe I would just, I don't know. If he has a poker face, maybe he has like a more surprised face. You know, he's kind of like, Oh, he kind of looks angry now, but you know what I'm saying. Well, if it's a poker face, you know. We can kind of do something like this, and maybe, you know, in a later scene, you know, that, you know, the ghost can go very wild and kind of go like, and then the dog has kind of like a, you know, like a crucifix in the mouth, being ready to destroy. I don't know. Yeah, just think about it. I think you have a lot of cool ideas and stories. Like, I'm pretty relaxed about you because I know that you will push. Like, this is a project that you're learning on, and then it's gonna be better and better next time. Just one, you know, rule of thumb: just lots of reference and what's already done before, because you're trying to reinvent the wheel a lot of the times and trying different things. That's good. Like, that's how I did stuff. I just painted and tried to make it work, and I really shot myself in the foot without, you know, studying film, studying stories. And I would really recommend you just, you know, go in and doing it. But I see that you have a lot of stories within you that will keep you pushing, but, you know, reference is key, and then studying other people's work. But hope my little thing worked. All right, I'm having some trouble with organization of the mess of the battlefield. Okay. I think I already told you that. Okay, this guy looks like King Arthur. King Arthur Merlin show. You said you didn't photo bash it? Well, come on. Can you guys see it? It's like the same face. It's absolutely the same face. So let's dissect this. Maybe you didn't. Like, yeah, it's the same. It's absolutely the same, in my opinion. Yeah, his hand is all torn up. So let's see what's going on in here. So main thing that's going on in here, it's, well, it is a mess. It's a mess in terms of values. It's a very good made mess. There's a lot of things that do work in here, but first of all, let's look at what our values say, you know, in this painting. Our values say, look here. Why? Because it's the most contrasty thing. But our composition says, look here. But then our values say, look here, and then look here, right? And then also look here. So what we have right now is we have, if we just would just make a simple, you know, little thing out of this, is like we have this, and we have this, then we have this, then we have dark things here, dark things here, dark things. So it's a mess in terms of value groupings. You have so many of the same values everywhere that we don't know where to look. You know, we have like a here. So because you have, you know, the abundance of values everywhere, our eye is like, you know, our eye is screaming the same way as this King Arthur is screaming. He's just, yeah, where do I look? And then you also have saturation. And saturation is everywhere. You know, you have a very saturated shot and it's all red, maybe because you start in black and white and then you start painting it with an overlay, right? So there's a few solutions that I can give you, right? First, let's drop down the saturation, right? Just a little bit, you know, let's copy it on top, you know, and then bring back the saturation we need to look at, you know, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here. Okay, it's a little bit better now, right? Okay, now let's make sure that this guy's face is not as interesting as the guy screaming, because I'm gonna tell you this, the guy screaming is more interesting than this guy. No, I'll just probably, can I do this? Yep, I think I can. You know, let's just make all of this just a little bit darker, right? So now what we did is we brought the values down. Now he's not as interesting. We're looking at the guy screaming. And you know what? I would just make the guy screaming face a little bit more contrasting. You know? He's the most important guy after all. Same thing here. Okay. So another thing is, you have so much detail everywhere. You know, you have so much detail everywhere that, you know, I don't think it's necessary. You have crows over there, overcomplicating things. You have crows here, you have crows there. You know what? I know it's like, it's probably you were so kind of like lost with the painting. Like, you know what? I need to save it. So let's do a bunch of crows everywhere. And I'm like, why? Why do so many crows? You can bring them back, but right now, not really. And then let's make this a little bit shorter so there's no tangent from the top of the freaking painting, right? Killing crows. No, well, I'm not killing them. I'm removing them for now. Another thing is, like, I know that this is a central composition. So if you have this as a central composition, it needs to be balanced by the right hand, right? So it's like maybe let's add something in the foreground here, like maybe in another, you know, let's have a stopper for the composition, you know. Maybe it's gonna be this, maybe it could be anything. Like, I don't know what it needs to be, but we need a stopper to the composition. Or maybe it's gonna be a rock in here, maybe like this. I don't know, but we need to have a roller coaster that doesn't go wee, but it needs to go woo and then go down, right? And we kind of did it with the trees over here. Another thing is, like, you have the sun. I would make the sun so round and big. I would just have it, you know, setting over the horizon, maybe, you know, with a few of those things kind of, yeah, going this way, maybe. Or you know what, maybe let's bring back the sun. I kind of like it. All right, let's see. All right, maybe we can bring back the crows, but no, let's only bring this crow in. So this guy, I like him. And maybe this one. Something like this. Maybe this one is okay. And maybe this one is fine. Okay, just a little bit more here. Okay, cool. Boink, boink. So the thing is, we have a lot of reds in this painting, right? Complementary color for reds is green. You know, so let's have some kind of like nice desaturated greens. Do a mask for it, fill it with black. You know, then just erase on top of it. Two little areas here and there to see it fail and not work. Oh, you know what? This kind of looks nice. I kind of like it. For the shadow side, maybe not so saturated. Something like this. All right. Cool. You know, another thing is we have his. But yeah, like kind of like rocks and like I'm not sure if you do photo bashing or it's just your textural things. Like drop some, you know, some details in the foreground because you have such a detailed middle ground that doesn't need more detail. And then I would also maybe move the entire thing a little bit to the left, maybe something like this. Yeah. So he's kind of the center of this thing. Oh, this looks like a mess now, but I'm sorry. Okay, cool. All right, now we need to do one more thing. To remove the contrast a little bit. And then only bring them in the area that we really need to, because when you have too much contrast here and there. Looks a little bit weird. Okay, why do I have this thing? Okay, let's just paint this in. All right, so I know this is not perfect, but I tried. So first of all, your main problem is that you have too many dark areas. Too many dark areas, too much contrast. We're paying attention to this. This is a rough paint over, but I hope you understand the main idea. So the main thing is, you know, our focal point, everything has to be pointing towards it. I know you have the tentacles and everything else. You know, maybe we will even move this thing somewhere over here. You know, so it's kind of has like this. So our character is framed by this awesome possum spear. You know, another thing what I'll do, maybe like add blood splatters, you know, maybe towards the animal, maybe not. But like what now we have this thing and it's framing the guy. Previously there was like there's this frame, but there's like this thing going on, this going on. It's not really, but now this guy is the centerpiece because we're gonna have this. Like maybe I would even do it like half broken, something like this. So what we have is we kind of have this kind of nice composition. So number one, when everything is saturated, nothing is saturated, right? We're not looking at the guy. Now we have greens complementing the reds, and we have neutral base. Now it's nice. You know, if you want to kind of like really make a statement, then it has to be like in its monochromatic, so it has to be something like this. You know, it's really hard to balance. It's a hard painting. I'm having a hard time painting it over. Another thing is distribution of detail. You have detail here, you have value contrast there, the distraction from this thing. You know, you have lots of detail here. I really like how you did this creature. It's a very nice brush strokes, right? But it's a little bit too complicated right now. Right, so there's details here, too much saturation, too many crows. I know it's leading up to this thing, but you know you're trying to salvage a broken value range in a broken saturation range, right? And again, game of contrast. This guy is screaming, but then for some reason we are paying attention to the dead guy here, right? In terms of like design of the face, maybe if you switch the face of this guy and this guy has this pretty face dying, maybe then we can see that this is the king dying. This guy is kind of like crying over his, you know, dead body or something. But right now it doesn't look like the king. You know, he doesn't look royal. He doesn't look like he's worth crying about right now. I'm looking more towards the guy who is screaming, right? So that's why I brought the, you know, the contrast back into his face. So again, there's a lot of questions in terms of that. It's a very complex painting, so I'll just rethink what's my simple statement is and what you're trying to say. Another thing is this guy is not going to be screaming for long because his hand is freaking torn off, right? Yeah, other than that, it's very graphic. I have no idea why the sun, you know, why the sun is white. So like if you want to tie it to a real time of day, you know, the sun is probably, it's gonna be kind of some kind of like this color, you know, it's not gonna be white. Yeah, other than that, yeah, simplify it. It's too complicated right now. I wouldn't say start over, but it's a little bit too complicated. I'll still add tentacles in the foreground somehow to give it the extra depth or something. Also, it would add as a blocker. Yeah, maybe I overdid it a little bit. I kind of want to hide the monster a little bit because the monster is too important, and then extend the thing this way. Yeah, those are my 2 cents. King needs a beard. It's hard to judge the painting without the context of the story. Yeah, a little bit. So for example, if you would have added here, yeah, a bunch of armors, people saying in the chat, and then maybe like a crown or a crown laying down over here, then it would have been much more, you know, it would have been much more contextualized. Maybe you can have other people kind of kneeling down, you know, in front of the king, you know, then it would definitely would have fed into the context of, you know, them lowering down, you know, their faces and like standing with their swords, you know, grim. Maybe they can have super cool beards, but again, there's going to be a lot of figures in there. But this way, like, it would have been all about this, you know. The creature is just a nice add-on. Yeah. So other than that, I really like the previous ones, but this one is it's a tough puzzle. I don't blame you that you're having trouble with it because it's monochrome. Monochrome is hard because when everything is red. I know you kind of had this ochre for the, you know, for the, you know, emphasizing, but you know what, like another thing that you can, okay, that you can also do, you can just, you know, drop the saturation completely to show how grim this moment is, you know, and then have it, you know, very stylized, and then only adding, like, this is without me changing anything, then only adding saturation into the areas of interest, which is right here. So now we're only paying attention to the king, right? And everything else is green and not very, you know, not very important. So they're just tricks that, you know, you use it as you please. Yeah, and I need to go. Be right back. I'm going to the, you know, I'll be right back. I'll make sure I mute my microphone. I'm back. Yeah, tough painting, but you got these. Right, worked on the keyframe and still a VIP. Haven't had time to fix the keyframe after feedback. Okay, cool. All right. I'm not sure if this is new. Okay. Okay, nice. I like it. There's a little bit of a gradient thing. That's probably the multiply. Yeah, with this one, if you want to make sure that the gold really glows again, you know, really emphasize it by having everything dark, and then you can just do, you know, crazy bounce light. This is such a nice opportunity for amazing bounce light onto her. It could be orange, it could be anything. She can be just lit by this bounce light. It could be awesome on all of them, you know, because right now in Russia we have this saying "Ni ryba ni мясо." That means it's neither meat, it's neither beef or fish. You know, it's the statement. It's neither. It's neither glowing from the, you know, they're neither glowing from the sunlight. They're neither glowing from the treasure. So pick a thing and then go with it. Yeah, I think here I told you to move the guy over here. because right now you have a lot of empty space here. I said move the guy here, but you didn't, but it's fine. Yeah, so just add some bounce light and then darken the entire thing around them. Other than that, it's cool and fine. Right, cool, good job. No updates today. Decided to shift my focus towards character design and locations. You didn't do a lot of keyframes, Tim. You did 1. You need to do 3. It's okay. Alright, this is a keyframe from a dream sequence the father and twin sons have. As the seeking consults with the mighty Odin, the time of judgment is upon us. 3rd keyframe. Fun got me out of my depression mode and learned some great pointers. Thanks to all. Alright, let's see. Okay, cool. I like it. But there's also a yeah, but. So, guys. We are controlling our virtual camera, or Mr. Cameraman from lecture on storyboarding. We can point it anywhere we want. Just one question: why is this cropped out? It kind of looks important, Why this rock gets more special treatment and this village on the right more than this focal point? Why? Extend this here, and make it all about the simple statement. Crop this crap out. Get it right here. Maybe move the guy towards center like this. So now everything points toward a focal point, and it's all about the focal point and only about the focal point, right? Because he's gonna be like, whoa, what the hell? He looks at this guy, right? Look at the trailer for what's that thing called? Eternals. They had a giant plate in there. Yeah, so again, guys, our frame, or what we populate the frame with, is precious. I like your colors, pretty nice, and detail distribution, right? So you have lots of detail here, you have lots of detail there. I know you just maybe downloaded PNGs or just did it yourself and then screwed them over, scoot, transform them over, right? But really pay attention to detail, right? Because you don't need, like, let's pull up my painting again. I think this is not the finished one, but yeah, this one has a lot of detail, but it also has a lot of places where there's no detail, right? There's no detail on the ground. I only put in lots of detail where the focal point is. Here. I know that people will look only over here, so here we're gonna have a lot of stuff, right? Here we have a rest area, right? Over here you have you have trees there, you have a house there, and you have a super detailed rock, and you have a super detailed thing here. I like that you made this simple. That's cool. That's awesome, right? But the main framing of the camera, like what you can do is, if you want to, you can take this rock, and then just place it, at the corner, like maybe somewhere over here behind the guy, because he just summoned something. Can be, darker and out of focus or something, right? But again, our camera, when it looks at something, our camera decides what's the most important thing. Another thing is values, right? This guy's super pretty far away. There's no way he's gonna be so dark, right? He's really far away from this guy, right? So it's gonna be something like, something like this probably, right? Like we can make the light behind him more if we want to, like something like that, right? But he cannot be as dark as our foreground element. So yeah, make sure that you first point the camera in the right direction, looking at things that need it. Framing, we can change the framing. We're not stuck to one thing. One trick that I'm gonna tell you guys: when you're doing your painting, don't treat all of this as your final thing. Like I always, sometimes when I do my initial painting, what I do is, like, I create a thing like this, you know, or even something like this, you know, and then I start doing my thing underneath it, the frame, right, or something like that. There's this here, here, here. And if I need to, I can just go and like expand it and make it bigger or smaller. But a lot of people think that that's what they have, so that's what they start doing. They just start feeding this into this thing. So don't fall under that mistake. But overall, it's nice. It is very nice. It's a very nice idea, right? Just needs a little bit of love. So control your details, where we need to look. What's the simple statement? Simple statement is this. We'll look at this guy. So make it all about the flying square, right? Why it's so important? Why am I bashing it into your heads, guys? When it's all about the simple statement, then we build the entire painting around the simple statement. When we are lost and we don't know what our story is, what our statement is, what we're starting doing, we start populating things with cool looking things, and they start screaming at each other, not supporting anything. So that's why I say start with one thing and then build everything in your frame around it. No, don't populate the thing and then try to kind of make it work and then come up with the meaning. No, meaning first, and then from this meaning the entire painting grows. Not the other way around. From the meaning, the other way. Yeah. By the way, good job. Right, clean. As you can tell, I'm not quite done with that last keyframe, but I just want to put it out there to show the closing. Don't make sure you don't feel like feedback unfinished stuff, so feel free to ignore and only feedback the second to last. We'll be finished this before graduation. Oh, and the order is wrong. Close up of the kids in both goes before the white shot. Okay, cool. This is finished. This is finished. This is awesome and finished. Cool. And then I think this is pretty finished. I like that. It's super cool. She's doing her thing. I have no feedback here. I like the foreshadowing of this smiley face of a wolf. You know, maybe with some cold colors or green hues from the bounce slide, define the shape a little bit. Like for example, I know that over here there's probably gonna be, you know, where this plane where the nose kind of sits into the skull. So just try to, you know, indicate at least some of the form of this wolf, because for me at the first glance I just thought that it was a creepy smiley face. Just looking at them. Yeah, because I know that you probably needed to balance it out, so you did this brush stroke here, but I don't really understand where this is coming from. Like logically, there's going to be just a bush there. So make sure that you define, you know, that you define the face and everything else. Yeah, sorry, someone emailed me. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's the only feedback I'll have for this one. Let's just make this thing clear. Okay, with this one is the trickiest one. I think this one is the weakest one out of them all. I think that's the one that needs the most work. I know it's unfinished, so I'm just gonna not paint anything. I'm just gonna talk about it so everyone can learn about it. So saturation, right? Everything is blue. From far away, looks like a big blob. I don't see the wolf in there. I don't see, you know, I don't see the giant wolf. And in the beginning, I thought they were just sitting in the middle of the night, and all of those things are bushes, right? So here you really need to work on the form of the wolf, on the rim light from the left, and make sure you balance it all out. But your simple statement is this. You already have a simple statement, which is, you know, the fire, you know, so you probably have to define this the most, and then you need to define some kind of a key feature that we're gonna define as wolf. So it's either gonna be a paw that needs to be defined, or it's gonna be like a freaking tail, or something that screams that this is a wolf in the light here, because that's your context of this thing, right? They're not lit by the rim light. The main simple statement is they're sitting by the fire, and then the wolf is around them, right? So you'll need to work on this area right here to make sure that there's defining features that in our brain will tell that this is the wolf. And even if you're gonna have some things undefined in this painting that goes into shadow or into a big formless mush, we need those key features to say this is a wolf, because right now it doesn't read like a wolf to me. When I kind of really squint at it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a wolf, right? But without that, no. Our painting has to be boom. That's what it is, you know. And that's what will define a good painting or a good keyframe painting from a bad one, especially if you're doing it for animation, right? All the other ones is like boom, clear as day. Here's what's going on. Here's the story. Here, a little bit harder to define what it is, but you got it. Oh, you update later. Okay, sorry. Okay, cool. Oh, completely forgot about this frame. Okay, this is much better than it was before. Just control the detail. You have detail here, then you have detail here, there. Make sure you simplify something. If the simple statement is they come from a very sci-fi city, make the foreground simpler. If the simple statement they're going to the forest, make the background simpler and make it all about the forest. But other than that, good. Cool. Okay, done when we're our last feedback session here. So now we're diving more. All right, Antonina Kovalevsky, let's go. Sorry to leave my previous post with homework, so that's not posted twice since Michelle allowed us to make changes for feedback again. Okay, this is awesome. That's pretty good. I like it. The only thing with this one I'm gonna say is I really like that it's very low value. Like you are paying attention to the exposure of the camera and everything else. I would just, you know, just a little bit, because they are pretty fun silhouettes, but I would just have more of that, you know, cool bounce light going on the top planes of them, having them much more saturated. So within the silhouette is a little bit more definable, so we can see in their faces, you know. So just, you know, just have a little bit of a more defined silhouette and maybe a little bit more of a bounce light in certain ways, because it's becoming a little bit too dark within the silhouette. Yeah, see, like we need to see within the silhouette, right? And, you know, I would just, you know, maybe drop a little bit of a background. The background is not so, like, they're leaving it behind, man. They're moving on. Their daddy's dead. They wanna leave it behind. So make it all about them. You know, don't waste your precious contrasts onto things that we're leaving behind. You know, it's all about her and about the boy. And honestly, if I were you, I would probably have the boy next to the mom. Probably. You know, they're both going. They're both leaving behind. Now he's all grown up. Like, it looks like she doesn't care about him. She's like, all right, let's let him go. You know, maybe have him here, or I don't know, or maybe not. I don't know. It just looks like, it looks like she's alone going. She doesn't care about him anymore. I would like to see the boy, because, you know, he's all grown up now. He doesn't really want to go. Okay. But the thing is, if he doesn't really want to go, what we have to do is, you know, you can kind of show him. He can do kind of like a, you know, kind of last glance. You know, he's kind of, it can be kind of like, you know, looking backwards, and he's like, you know, goodbye house. You know, he can look back and be like, I don't want to go, mom, because if he doesn't want to look, it looks like he's just slow. That's it. He doesn't care. But here we can have her. First of all, we can have the boy next to the mom, and he can be looking back and be sorry about it that he doesn't want to go. But other than that, like, if you don't really care about the story that much, don't bother about it. It's basically done. Yeah, I would just, there's just too much attention to the house in terms of contrast. And what you have to understand, we're always competing, you know, for the contrast. Like here we're just looking at the girl, right? And it's a little bit too dark, right? So make it brighter, less contrasty, you know, and then bring the contrast into the areas that are needed. It's like her and the boy. No, everything else is not important. Okay, it's all about what's important. Yeah, you know, it'd be kind of fun if we can do this. For the night that got his dad, I'll get some satisfaction from that, because he got revenged. Yeah, but other than that, it's pretty good. I really like, again, if you're going for like a low value range type of a read, it's fine. It just needs a little bit of a pop within the silhouette. Other than that, it's pretty solid point painting. You're doing very nice. A bit of correction. Okay, let's see what changed. Ah, help. Okay, cool. He's kind of like, ooh, there's radio waves. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. This is much better. Something I'll delete. Okay, cool. Nice. Alright. Here are my final keyframes. Mission much as I want to change it. The second keyframe with blue lining. I think that to have a warm one from the fire is better and outside than you. Ooh, mysterious. Okay, cool. This is fine. This is okay. Very Angry Birds like. Okay, cool. I like that. Just add some neutral colors in the shadows so it's not so monochrome. I like that. Very solid drawing, very comic book like. This is cool. Like it. Yeah, but this one, I know it's unfinished. Not a big fan of very loose fog. Needs something more. She looks into like a boring lamp, and there's boring walls to the right, to the left. So either the walls need some kind of engravings onto them, or the silhouette where the light's coming from is more interesting, because that's the focal point, and your focal point is boring. And make sure it's not boring, right? Or complement it with things that are not boring in here. But she looks here into the light, so make it all about this area right here. Right, so I think this entire thing needs to have an interesting silhouette or an interesting design or something interesting that, you know, we look at there. But overall, yeah, very solid line work, very nice. I really like your characters, very, you know, very controlled. So I love that, very nice. Right, update, add some more bits to add the lighting with the deleting priv. Must to keep message from the first version of post below the message and add the first version of the in between the old and the later version. Alright. Okay. Okay, this guy's dead. Ouch. Okay. So this was the first version to the left. This is a new version. That's the middle one, I think. Okay, I like the middle one most. Okay, let's just take a look. So first of all, what's going on? This guy's dead. Sunlight everywhere, right? I'm not sure what she has, like dark areas here and here, even though here it's bright, right? So make sure you know where your lighting is coming from. So if the lighting is coming from the right, her entire body is going to be reflecting light from the left or right. Same thing with grass, right? It's going to be reflecting a lot of that if there's actual light in there, right? But I think there's something wrong with this painting. I think first of all is I think it's the framing. I think I'll just keep it like this. And yeah, then we need to add more stuff in there. So something like this. You know, maybe it's needed more of a close-up, something like this. Yeah. So we're just being like, wait, let's just crop it like this so it's cinematic. Also, not sure why she's like, see, that's another thing. When you're adding lighting, it's not about glazing. Like this is called glazing on top with a color. So again, rewatch the color and light thing. So if you have like a warm light and this is the local color, it's kind of like on greenish, right? Where's it gonna go? It's gonna go like somewhere towards this, right? And then for like highlight, maybe it's gonna be something like, you know, something like this, maybe. You know, don't glaze. You know, adding light on top is not just color picking the color of our light bulb and just doing with a soft brush. That's not how it works. All right. So if you have lighting coming from the right, like her skin color is probably going to be like on the cooler side, right? If I'm gonna drop all the detail and just do this. Right, so if her skin color, like, it's gonna be something like this, maybe, because again we have a lot of cool light, as I can see, because there's probably gonna be some shadows, right? And then if she's gonna have any portion of her body lit up by actual light, it's gonna be something like this. So for example, if the left side is gonna be, you know, hit by the light, it's going to be something like this, right? Because right now you just have, well, maybe that's the color for skin. Okay, cool. Well, even if it's the color for skin, right, there's going to be some portion of it in the shadow. I mean, it's going to be darker and cooler, right? So if her entire, I'm just going to color pick your own colors. So if her entire face is in the shadow, that's what we're going to have for the entire face, right? Same thing for the hair right now. So right now, hair of yours, right, it's not hit by the light, right? This is more like it that it's hit by the light. Let's say if her hair is like brownish, something like this, right? So the problem with your character right now, your character is not hit by an actual light. For example, you have her, you know, sleeve over here. If it's hit by an actual light, it has to be actually represent that. Same thing with like color here, also has to be hit by the light. Right, for some reason this portion of her fingers are in shadow even though the light's coming from the right. So what I deducted from this, that, you know, if she will have her arm here, this is going to be in the shadow and this is going to be probably in the light. Why? Well, because this is a plane that's facing this direction and this is our other plane, right? So you see when it bends around, like this is probably going to be facing this direction, so this is going to be in shadow and this is going to be in the light, right? So if she has a nose here, maybe the nose is going to have a plane that is going to be facing that direction. Maybe part of her thing is going to be lit up here, right? So this is actual like light reflecting to stuff, right? If there's a little bit of like a fill light in this area, maybe on her other side of her, you know, of her hair, there's going to be a little bit of blue in it. Why? Because there's the blue sky. Because when we have a sunset, you know, where the sun rises, like for example, let's just take the you know, the orc painting, right? We have the sides that are, you know, affected by the sunlight or the sunset, right? And then the other areas where they're not affected by it are kind of like they're going towards the atmosphere, the blue, you know, going towards the night. Right, so if she is standing somewhere over here, for example, right, and the sunset goes into her face, what the hell? And the sunset is going to her face, right? So this part of her is going to be lit by the sun, and then this part, the sky, is going to be all around her, going to her shadows, right? So, for example, you know, darker toned skins usually have a lot of reflective, you know, capability. So maybe there's going to be some reflective light from the sky itself, right? Same thing here on the back of her palm, blah 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 blah. And then some areas going to have more shadows on them. And same thing with this dude, right? So if his mask is kind of like, you know, it's white, but the thing is, white is really good at reflecting stuff. So part of the stuff that this mask is going to be reflecting is going to be the atmosphere. You know, same thing with his jacket. You know, some of it is going to be, you know, towards cooler greens. Why? Because it's reflecting the atmosphere, and whatever is going to be actually, you know, hitting him, it's going to be, you know, bright green. So the main thing that I tell you about this frame is it's not bad. It's pretty good, right? But there's no light in it. Like for example, here, like what do you have? Like someone sprinkling sourdough or like flour onto them. Like this is not the sun. This is not really the sun. This is kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, it's someone sprinkling fog on top of them, right? And if you have like, you know, if you have light hitting them all around, you know, the grass is going to be really hit by the light, especially here, right? Or, you know, or another thing, like you have a lot of brights here, we don't really need to go that area. So why not just go and cover this area with a gradient? Then show maybe there's some kind of like, I would just, you know, I would just even do this. You know, this guy is dead. You know, make it all about the girl. You know, he's gonna be half in the shadow or something, right? It's not really important. It's important. Her reaction is important to his death, and then he has a lot of bloody stuff in it. Yeah. So number one, keep your lighting in mind. Like this is not perfect, and I think I need to add a little bit of highlights here and there, like here, 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 and here, right here, here, a little bit of here, maybe to show that through lighting. And again, I don't have the time to paint it over quickly because I don't want to do it for you, right? But like this has an actual form, right? Light is coming from somewhere, you know, she's in context, you know. And see, it's kind of cool that I have this to reference right now, because when you're even creating shots like this, you need to always think about your context, which is this, right? Because you cannot get those, let's say, blue shades here and there just out of your imagination. So when you're doing this, you need to imagine your character standing in a real world scenario and see what the skybox looks like, where the sound is coming from, what's reflecting, blah 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 blah, all of that stuff. Yeah. Okay, very nice. Okay, cool. I think I already feedback that. My feedback is not changing upon the changes that you do here. Finished and ready for crit. Okay, cool. This is much better. This is much better. I like it. It's kind of like the tattoos are. I'm still gonna say that this tattoo is still a little bit too noisy. It's competing with the face. So make it simpler. If you're not gonna make it simpler, it should be fine. This looks good, you know, simple statement. Here's a contrasty thing. Very nice. Good. I really like that you changed the position of the sword. I think you yourself see that it reads better now. It's all about the helmet. This is cool, all right? Got dark and then very graphic. With this one, this one is hard. This is very hard. Honestly, for some reason, I even prefer the last one, but it's all about the, you know, this girl. Not a big fan of this eye, maybe. I think in terms of the, I think I know what the problem is, because you have, so the shape of the face is like this, right? So that's the back of her head. If we're gonna have structure, and again, guys, I'm not really good at anatomy, but this is what my trained eye kind of looks at, right? So you have this, then you have the eye line here, and I think if we would like put it in the perspective, she almost seems like a cyclops. I think her eye is too close to the center line, like it's very, very close, and now she looks a little bit like a cyclops. Honestly, I would not even bother about her face. I would just totally cover it with hair. You know, it's not about her facial expression. It's about this girl's facial expression, right? Just, you know, just cover it with hair. Who cares? You know, it's already look better, right? Also, maybe I'll do like expression. Maybe it had some kind of like blood coming out. It's like, you know, yeah, and you know, another thing I would do, because you have like this kind of like white highlight, I would just, you know, I would just have some things shining through little holes in here to kind of have it like more of a kind of like a bloom effect a little bit, because also this will help covering contrasty areas that are not important. That'll be it, honestly. But one thing I'm gonna tell you, that, you know, the main focal point is her, right? And I would probably see if I can solve this puzzle. Just maybe have her more in the foreground. Something like this. I just want to zoom in a little bit to see more of the girl's facial expression. It's almost like I want to just do this type of a deal, you know, because this will feel that it's about her, and she's a little bit too far away and too low to look at, right? Because look what's happening if we just, you know, if we just frame this way, right? It's about a girl stabbing this girl, right? And if we just do this, it's about everything at the same time, right? So there has to be either this, or something has to be done, or maybe leave it like this, I don't know, just to emphasize the girl at the bottom left. That's it. Bloom, cover her face with hair, because I think we both think that, you know, it's better than the Cyclops. And we don't really need to look at her face, right? Yeah. And then maybe, just maybe, you know, it looks like the back is just, you know, just growing out. I would just make it maybe the back plate, just make it a little bit bigger, so it's not just like an extra arm just growing out of it, like it's part of the armor somehow. But if you just leave it, it's gonna be fine. Yeah, that's the only thing. Bloom, just make it about the girl. I don't know how, either make the girl bigger, or the foreground girl make her bigger, and then make the arm bigger, that it's framing her just like you did right now. But other than that, I think that's the last frame that you need to work on. Everything else I would just not touch. I think it's just the final frame. Again, Control your contrast. This is very contrasty. This is very contrasty. This hand is very contrasty. This is very contrasty. And what the bloom does, it removes the contrast, makes a very nice lighting effect at the same time, right? And another thing is like, this is a very dramatic moment, you know? This is a very dramatic moment. So, you know, I would just, yeah, don't mind me. And this is me just, I need to make a selection of the background. Like I would just, you know, I just replace the background with something more dramatic, you know, and by dramatic I mean, I don't know what I mean yet. Let's see what I mean by that. See, I don't have all the answers. I am freestyling just all real. Okay, dramatic sunset. Let's see. Then oops. Whoops. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, and then just do the same thing. Kind of like this, and then all you need to do is, you know, where's the, I need to do it behind them. Why is it not doing anything? Oh, here we go. Yeah, then maybe you can have a little bit of those, you know, things here. Same stuff, just a little bit more saturation, you know. Maybe the entire girl is going to be a little bit like this. Yeah, and then this. We need to bring back the thingamajigs, but also what to do. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, something like this. It's just a little bit more dramatic, you know. It's kind of like, yeah, battlefield, cool, you know. You can still have, you know, those very cool bloom effects if you want to, around the edges. It's like that's how the camera would have worked, you know. And just kind of feel that it's all about the girl now. Yeah, just from far away, if like you would just compare this. Well, it's two different statements. So if you want it to be more angelic, like, you know, you can do that. This is just a little bit more kind of, this is the angel war, and this is more kind of like war, and you do whatever you want with it. This is just my take on it. But overall, very nice. Just control your value ranges and contrast and focal points. All right, cool. So a little bit more defined. I would work on the shape of a nose here a little bit. And then the eyebrows. Because the thing is with the dog's face, right? You know, you need to have those kind of like clear planes. So there's a clear plane on the top. Make sure that's a clear plane. Then the top over here, make sure that's a clean plane. And then the nose, that's like kind of like a soft square. I like the variation of color here and there. I'm not sure if it was the correct way to flip it from left to right. It looks a little bit weird to me for some reason. I think I preferred more when it was right to left, when the wolf was the first thing that we see. But other than that, it's pretty good. I trust your judgment. I'm pretty sure you can wrap it up pretty nice. But something has to be done with the wolf and the direction of it. Yeah. Didn't have a lot of time recently, but thanks for additional time. I managed to finish the keyframe only one this time. Okay. I like it. I like it. You know, the frame needs to be populated with something, just a little bit, like maybe a carpet. Just looks like, you know, it looks like a set that's been built, and then an actual person who lived there. I like that you did a portrait and the books and everything else, but it needs a little bit more life into it, you know, like a carpet, maybe like drawings on the like on the ground. But other than that, I think you did some chromatic aberration. Don't overuse it, you know. Only add chromatic aberration when, yeah, if no one knows what chromatic aberration is, when you have a blue channel and a red channel, and then you, as you can see here, and then you misalign it, and then it gives you extra texture on top of things, you know, as you can see here. But some people use it just to hide lack of detail and thinks that it will solve everything. Don't use chromatic aberration until you're finished, because chromatic aberration can give you an illusion that your painting is finished, but when it's not actually the case. Okay, so don't overuse it. Your work for a more acceptable result. This time I use a tablet. I'm not used to it. Thanks for allowing me for feedback. How Canva is great school. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So I think you are really good with kind of like graphic shapes, but you know, don't forget about form. You know, like one thing that you have to understand, that there's such thing as occlusion, right? When those things are going to be laying down on the ground, they're not going to be hit by a rim light on the ground. There's going to be a bunch of occlusion around them, right? Because I think right now you have a bunch of occlusion hitting them, but there's no way it would have been that way, right? Unless the ground itself is glowing, right? But that's not the case here, right? If you're going to have some rim light coming onto them, the ground is going to catch it themselves, right? Because the ground, you know, it's a plane, you know, it reflects light just like it did over here, right? But right now what you have is you have floating things, and then the ground, like, where does this, like, it looks like there's a light underneath him, but only he, you know, only the bear is, you know, is responding to it. If it's off screen, say here, you know, well then there's gonna be, you know, there's gonna be some of it on the ground, you know, kind of like this, right? I think you learned a lot. I'm not gonna critique too much of it, because right now, like in this, it looks like a transitioning shot, right? There's no, like, I think this is the clear focal point maybe, but I'm not sure what's going on. The aliens are crashing, or like they're being attacked. Are they all of them dead? It looks like a big I Spy thing. Like, be careful, like with your, like, you need to, again, what's the simple statement? Like, for example, it looks like there's a focal point missing. Like, even if you, like, you'd say if you had like a bear over here, like looking at the apocalypse as a silhouette, this could have been a better focal point. Then you could have had all those, you know, all these dead buddies as toys, you know, laying around. He can be, you know, he can be the focal point here. But right now, there's all this image is saying me. There's things about to, you know, shoot down, and there's things laying down. So I'm not sure what's all about. But you know what? You're doing progress. I think I was amazed that you did everything with a mouse in the beginning. This is a nice change of mood. So I think you're done, and just you need to jump on the next project, because right now you're just trying to, like, what else can I do with the thing that I already did, and you're not really coming up with something new. You're just trying to change the old stuff. So it's a nice change of mood, which is going to be looking good in your portfolio. But again, you just need to next project and then test out your new acquired skills. Just don't forget that each thing in this thing is, you know, it's an object. And it's a simple form that cannot be just in that space. So for example, if you have a rim light, where's this rim light coming from, right? I know that you did it probably just to pop those guys out, and you probably did it very hastily, as you can see here. Just I like your confidence, right? But for example, why is it there just where they're just laying down in the void? Or for example, here, you know, this plane is reflecting the light correctly, right? But then there's blue light here in this plane where they're laying onto and then it's not reflecting. So everything when it comes to lighting, if you add a piece of lighting, right, like for example here, right, I have a piece of lighting here that reflects light here, you know, it's kind of like a physics engine. Nothing can, again, survive in the void. So for example, if I gonna like add, you know, a blue sphere over here, then I gonna add like a, you know, kind of like a blue rim light from, you know, from the bottom, and then on the left side I gotta, you know, make it in the shadow. This looks like an object that doesn't belong to this universe. Why? Well, because all around I see that the light is coming from the left side, but it's not, but there's light for some reason coming here at the bottom, but there's nothing is, you know, nothing is shining blue on other characters, right? So always think about the context and where things exist in real space. Hey Tim, finish Keyframe. I don't think I'll do more than tweaks. Okay, well, if you're not gonna do more than tweaks, then it's finished. There's nothing to tweak around. I think I already feedbacked it. Yeah, I just wish you could have done more than one. Other than that, good job. Good job. I think I already painted over. You can see the previous paint over. Nice. Good job. Right, Aliona. So this one, right? I think she has, you know, ballerinas reflected in her eyes. You know, again, just try to think of everything in terms of context, right? So if the simple statement is about her looking at the, you know, at the ballerina, you know, maybe, you know, have everything else in shadow, you know, make the simple statement all about her eyes, you know. Filmographers always did about that. And again, don't forget about the shape. So it's about that, you know, just make the shape of a ballerina more, blur it out a little bit. It's not going to be so clear in her eyes, right? I can see you did a silhouette, and I think it would have been a little bit like, I know it's going to look creepy, but we need to blur it out a little bit, the silhouette of a ballerina in her eyes. And the thing is, it's not clear enough. So what I would do is I would probably just, you know, have something, I don't know, something like this, and then on top I'll have like a ballerina silhouette, but it's not very readable. So I would just do this regularly, and then maybe had another frame when she's just, you know, looking at the circus, and she looks up and has some explanation. That's what she's looking at, and there's this girl swinging back and forth, right? Because, and this is not like, or maybe just do a silhouette of someone with her face swinging, and then the next one you connect to a next frame, because or just have a close-up, you know, just have a real close-up to one of her eyes or something, because I'm not sure if this is readable enough. It has to be clear. This one's nice. I think I did a paint over of it. I'm not sure if you adjusted anything, you made it darker in the background, but you lost all the fireworks. Just, you know, again, rewatch the paint over that I did. I will be doing the same brush strokes in there. This one is okay, I like it. Again, please get some, you know, I'm not sure if there's like fog in there. Just get a real life reference of a daylight, because like, why is this not like, this is formless? Why does it have too much overexposed stuff in it? Just needs more reference in it. I think this one's my favorite. This is pretty good. But again, this thing's probably gonna go in the distance in the background and be a little bit, you know, things that go in the background are gonna take the color of the atmosphere. Right, probably gonna be something like this, right? You guys see, now it's actually in the atmosphere somewhere far away. Other than that, cool, I like it, very nice. Yeah, just rewatch my feedback, please, that I did for that frame. Just again, always keep form in mind, where your lighting is coming from. I think you're doing lots of progress, like especially with this frame. I think your brain is working in the right way in terms of story and everything else. Just needs more reference, right? I think this is okay, but again, it's too complicated of a thing. You probably need an extra frame to show someone swinging and then she's reacting to her to explain this, or you need to make the pupils a little bit lighter so the silhouette of the circus lady is reflect a little bit clearer. Other than that, it's cool. Okay, first time participating in feedback. I only completed the first keyframe. I'm terrified of my green use. I'm ready for suggestions. Okay, cool. Let's look at it. Yeah, it's very nice, very cool. Love the story. I have no feedback on this one. This is pretty solid, super great. I love how much you think about your story. I follow your Instagram stories all the time. Broke the mirror. Nina past self emerged from the mirror. Her past self pulled into her mirror world. Cool. Yeah, this is a great first keyframe. I think I like all of them. I like the one with the top left green. Why? I like this one a lot, the top one, because the red dress really pops on that kind of warmish greens, and I like it. But honestly, I trust your judgment. Either one of those really good. So, but I really like the top left one, this one. This is very well done. Super great. Super great. Hopefully you're in a good place though, because this is a very dark image. So hopefully it's not too self-reflective, okay? Make sure, guys, that you have some projects that not only reflect your life, and then you are coping with your life by doing your images, but also something that lets you escape your reality and then has some light and positivity in it. So that's why, for example, I have Vikings for the fight. Then I have my Catholic priest for my faith. And then I have duck and gnome. Very, I'll just show you so you understand a little bit more in the context, right? So this is just a little bit of kind of like feel good type of deal. See, I have kind of like quirky epic Vikings for the fight and thrill of life, fighting monsters. And then I have, something sad and a little bit of dark, to reflect some of my other areas of my life, and then I have something, cute and wholesome, just to, make sure that I go down insane. So, make sure you have the right balance in your life. But this is a great painting. Good job. All right, next one. Matthias. All right, the story ended up changing a lot during the process, but it would be really nice to receive feedback on this one. Okay, cool. Let's see. All right. Okay, cool. Let's look at all of them. Nice. I like this one a lot. Very nice. And this is very cool. So you're a very strong artist. You can see that. But you're tempted, like all of us, with a gift of detail. You like detail a lot. You like it too much. Oh, come on, Discord. Let me just copy this image. So I'm going to tell you one thing. All right. So detail. Where do we have it here? So we have a very detailed houses here. Super detailed. Right? We have detail here. We have detail there. We have detail here. Then we have lots of detail over here. And then you have detailed, trees over here. This is detail overload. Yeah, no problem, Puto. Make sure that you are controlling all of it, and then especially the contrast. So if you look here, like it's an impressive, like, I like your colors, I like your brushwork, everything else, but it's too much, man. And but I know if I push this, the star, gets lost. But you need to simplify it a little bit. And I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe that's, maybe that's the point of this thing, is just to have everyone confused. But it looks like the star is coming from here. But then you have also this fog, but I'm not sure if is the world is being destroyed and pulled into this vortex. you know, you just need to make a more simple statement, and the character gets lost just a little bit, right? So if you want to kind of pop the character a little bit more, you know, you have some light behind this character. So maybe just have this light a little bit more intense behind, so we can have a little bit of a pop that this character is here, you know, with saturation, you know, then have more of that shown over here. So this way we look at it, and then, you know, and then the rest needs to be either pushed in the background just a little bit or simplify, right? Especially, you know, those dark things, unless this kind of frame that, you know, sometimes, yeah, I design those kind of frames when I have kind of like multiple camera angles, and then the camera pans, and then the pan itself, everything has to be super detailed. But if it's a frame itself, if it's a frame itself as a keyframe, there's too many focal points that are just confusing. Again, your brush work is awesome, your simplification is awesome. I like that the star is kind of being impaled and it's weird, you know, but it's too much going on. Like in the beginning, I didn't even see that the star was impaled. It looks like super important. Like, and again, important things needs to be bigger. Like I want to do something like this, you know, and now, you know, the star is very impaled. But again, if we turn into black and white, just to look at, you know, your value relationships. So we have noise here, this is important. We have noise here, this is important. The only unnoisy part we have is the character, but even the character is kind of like separated from all this by the fog here. So it's like two different things at the same time. Like I would even, you know, I would get the darkness over here and then make sure and spread up to here or something. So there's clear separation of, you know, the character standing and then the stuff. So it's more simple over here, simplify this. You know, so I have the character here, and I would make the star of your painting, you know, show that it's actually impaled, you know, and then whatever coming for the background of your CT, like the back of the CT, I would simplify those into simple silhouettes that are going into the distance, something like this. Absolutely with no detail, and just have a couple of houses with a few details, right? Because right now you need to, you know, simplify form and then do. This one is simple enough and cool. Maybe this is like a pan from left to right. Really cool. I think I will not touch this. And this is also pretty cool. I like that. Just, you know, just control your, you know, it's on the borderline to become a little bit muddy, but overall it's pretty nice. So good job. I see that you spend a lot of time on this. This reminds me a little bit of Nicholas Cole. I'm not sure if you're doing it on iPad or not, but I think it just the soft, cool shadows. But it's really good. I like it. Just needs a little bit of a touch. You know, it's all about the simple statement. I know people would like this as it is probably, but for my taste, you know, it's all about treating the audience like they're stupid, and I am borderline stupid here and there. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. What is it? I don't know what is it. Right, and then when I kind of look into it, but you know, we need to. People don't have that time anymore just to look into it too much. And right now, it's all about everything, and not about something particular. So either if it's about your character, make your character the main focal point. Everything supports that. If it's about the star, make everything about the star. Then everything supports the star. Right now, there's just too many things at the same time. And we're done. Woo! Misha, stop here. I did it. Whoa. Blah, blah, blah. Peach juice. Need peach juice. Is my stream still going? Yeah, it's going. Cool. All right. We did it, guys. Now it's up to now it's all up to you. I did the final feedback. It's the final. Oh, so okay, do this, do this, do this. Okay, cool. You did it. Another sick feedback session. Yay, we did it. We freaking did it. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Not bad. That will go longer. Oh. Well done, everybody. Go pat yourself on the back. I think our diplomas are gonna be on the 12th, so it's gonna be on the Monday next week. What we're gonna do is we gonna take your unpublished ArtStation post. We're gonna get on a personal call with all of you. I'm gonna talk to all of you directly. I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna play some sad music, some good music, some epic music. We're gonna post your diplomas onto ArtStation the same day after you talk to me, because on Monday I'm gonna talk to everyone that is whoever finished their diploma. I'm gonna post an unpublished ArtStation post and then post it with everybody, and everybody gonna like it and comment on it. And then the post needs to be organized a certain way, probably like how for artist logo, if you want to support the thing with a few links and maybe mention of me. I'm gonna probably organize the final homework, which the final homework is organize your diploma on ArtStation a certain way. I'm gonna provide screenshots, how to organize, what hashtags put into it. It's gonna be posted in homework. It's gonna be posted in homework 11. Yeah, it's gonna be posted in homework 11, and then we're done. We're gonna be done, and it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna cry next Monday. Good. Crying is good. That means you care about something, and we don't get many things to care about in life. Misha, crazy work today. Yay! Thank you, Katya. Fun times. So, all right. Final words. I enjoyed feedbacking you guys. We did 9 feedbacks in total. I just want to see how much feedback time we got to overall. My channel. Let's look at this, guys. So this is. Let's just bring the calculator out. I'm just curious. Do it with you guys. 149. Okay, let's do it 150. 150 plus 153 plus 156 plus 2 plus 2.5 plus 3, okay, plus 3 plus 4 plus 2. What's this one was? And this one 2.5. Okay. 2.5. We did 18 hours of feedback and almost 40 plus something. So we've been together for almost 60 plus hours, not even counting the Q&A sessions. So we probably spent all over the entire summer almost like 100 hours. That's like a really good game, you know. I missed 1 plus 16. It's okay if I missed anything. That's the point. How goes the ad revenue? Has it been increasing since you outed? Not really, guys. I think we made like $35 or $45 in ad revenue. So you know what? If we just, you know, it's like almost $1 per lecture or per hour. So my day rate on YouTube as a teacher, yeah. So my day rate on YouTube right now is $1 every 1.5 hours. So yeah, that's a lot of peach juice money. You know what, guys? Yeah, I think you did pay for all the peach juice that I was drinking on stream. All right, so this is the end. This is our last feedback session for the art camp. It's not our last feedback session ever, so don't be sad. But you know what? I am letting you go with my, heart at ease. Sorry guys, there will be no more feedback after this, because after this feedback session, I am technically jumping into my animated project, not mine, but animation project that I'm directing right now. There's a lot of storyboarding and animatic stuff needs to be done, so I'll be finally doing creative stuff. Yeah, unless there's some freelance jobs that I need to do this month. So yeah, I'll meet you Monday. I'm proud of all of you guys. You all guys are the best until we repay the debt. Yeah, sorry for my crazy hair again, but I think everyone got used to it. Yeah, I'll meet you on Monday. Please do not miss it. Monday, same time, 11 a.m. my time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Moscow time. I think something like that. We're gonna have fun, do our final wrap up of the camp, publish everything to ArtStation, get everyone to the trending, and then everyone can exhale and then go on their own adventure until the winter camp comes. Ooh. And what's gonna be on the winter camp? I don't know. Also, there's a chance I might launch a Patreon on our diploma day. Maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of lazy. Maybe I'm not gonna do it. Who knows? But I want to give a chance for people who want to support what we're doing here, so we can do it more. Yeah. Anyways, guys, stay hydrated. You're the best Vikings I ever knew. I'm super proud of you. A lot of you guys pushed through everything. Some people did everything best to their ability. At the end of the day, you're responsible for yourself. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. But yeah, proud of you guys. Stay hydrated. Let's have a fist bump or something. Valhalla. Yeah. Not very epic. But anyway, guys, I see you later. Bye bye. Yeah.